List of sanctions against Russia after Ukraine's invasion. US, EU, UK, Japan, Canada, Taiwan, and New Zealand unveil sanctions against Russia that target banks, military exports, and oil refineries. Western powers were implementing measures aimed at asphyxiating Russia's economy, said French Foreign Minister Jean-Yves Le Drian. The U.S. Department of the Treasury said it targeted the core infrastructure of Russia's financial system, sanctioning two of its largest banks, state-backed Sberbank and VTB Bank. It has also targeted military end users, including the Russian Defense Ministry. The U.S. has imposed sanctions on 24 Belarusian individuals and entities, including 2 significant Belarusian state-owned banks, 9 defense firms, and 7 regime-connected officials and elites. EU leaders were set to impose sanctions on Russia's financial, energy and transport sectors, introduce export controls, and blacklist more Russians. The EU also eyed freezing European assets linked to Russian President Vladimir Putin and Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov over their decision to invade Ukraine, EU officials said on Friday. "We are hitting Putin's system where it has to be hit, not only economically and financially, but also at the heart of its power," German Foreign Minister Annalena Baerbock said. "We are not just listing oligarchs, but we are now also listing the president, Mr. Putin, and the foreign minister, Mr. Lavrov," Baerbock added. Freezing Putin's assets in the EU would be a unique step in history toward a nuclear power, Austrian Foreign Minister Alexander Schallenberg said. EU foreign ministers also unveiled on Friday sanctions that target Russian elites, but the group opted not to curb Russian energy imports, or, after objections from Germany and Italy, among others, to cut Russia off from the Society for Worldwide Interbank Financial Telecommunication (SWIFT) international payment system. First, this package includes financial sanctions, targeting 70% of the Russian banking market and key state-owned companies, including in defense. Japan said it will strengthen sanctions against Russia to include financial institutions and military equipment exports, Prime Minister Fumio Kishida said, adding that an impact on his resource-poor nation's energy supply is unlikely. Kishida told a news conference that Tokyo would take aim at Russian financial institutions and individuals with the sanctions, as well as halt exports of military-use goods such as semiconductors. Prime Minister Boris Johnson unveiled the UK's largest ever package of sanctions against Russia targeting banks, members of Putin's closest circle, and wealthy Russians who enjoy high-rolling London lifestyles. Johnson said the Russian leader would be condemned by the world and by history for his invasion, and never be able to cleanse the blood of Ukraine from his hands. In the 10-point sanctions package, the British government said it would impose an asset freeze on major Russian banks, including state-owned VTB, its second biggest bank, and stop major Russian companies from raising finance in the UK. "I thanked our financial services sector today for the efforts they are making to ensure sanctions implemented against Russia are robust and effective." Canada announced more sanctions against Russia targeting 62 individuals and entities, including members of the elite and major banks, and cancelled all export permits. Today, in light of Russia's reckless and dangerous military strike, we are imposing further, severe sanctions, Prime Minister Justin Trudeau said. Sanctions will target the Russian Security Council, including the Defense Minister, Finance Minister, and Justice Minister, Trudeau added. "We're imposing new and severe sanctions on those responsible for Russia's brutal, unjustified attack on Ukraine. These sanctions will target banks, financial elites, and members of the Russian Security Council, including the Defense, Finance, and Justice Ministers." The Czech Republic banned Russian airlines from flying to the Central European country and is considering further steps against Russia. Prime Minister Petr Fiala said Prague will also speed up its exit from 2 international banks set up in the Soviet era, while the Finance Ministry will analyze Russian-owned companies' access to Czech public funds. "We are a country which experienced the aggressive policy of Russia, or Soviet Union, and our unique historical experience makes us much more sensitive, he said. Taiwan will impose sanctions on Russia, the government said, with the world's largest contract chipmaker saying it would comply with all export control rules. We very harshly condemn such an act of invasion and will join democratic countries to jointly impose sanctions, said Premier Su Tseng-chang, without giving details. Asked about the sanctions, Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing, TSMC, a major auto supplier and Asia's most valuable listed company, said it had a robust export control system and would follow the rules. Australia imposed more sanctions on Russia targeting several of its elite citizens and lawmakers, and said it was unacceptable that China was easing trade restrictions with Moscow at a time when it invaded Ukraine. Prime Minister Scott Morrison said the new sanctions will be placed against oligarchs whose economic weight is of strategic significance to Moscow and more than 300 members of the Russian parliament who voted to authorize sending Russian troops into Ukraine. Australia is also working with the United States to align sanctions on key Belarusian individuals and entities who helped Russia. New Zealand imposed targeted travel bans on Russia and prohibited trade to its military and security forces. The world is speaking and sending a very clear message to Russia that what they have done is wrong and they will face the condemnation of the world, Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern said. If you like this video, then share this video with your friends and family and subscribe my channel. Thanks for watching.